Episode 31, The Art of War Made Easy, Chapter 13, On the Use of Spies. Today's theme is the reverse spy. Have you ever been asked to find out something for someone, like where's the nearest burger joint, and you did it for them? At that time, you were a living spy. Has anyone ever come to you about information concerning your job because they needed the information? Perhaps they wanted to get hired, or they were just curious. At that time, you were an inside spy. Have you ever told someone that you was going to do something, be somewhere, contact them, knowing that you would not? At that time, you were a dead spy. Have you ever been asked by someone for directions in your city? At that time, you were a local spy. Have you ever had a private conversation with someone and then discussed that private conversation with another party secretly? At that time, you were a reverse spy. But in all those scenarios, you were a reverse spy first, before you became the other types of spy. Like Gordon Gekko said in Wall Street, information is the most valuable commodity I know of. Before the internet was developed in the World Wide Web around 1992, information used to take 100 years to double. Now it takes only 10 minutes. What makes information valuable is the way it can be used, the role that timing plays. When you find out something before everybody else, it's a kind of power that you are now responsible for, and you also have the power to utilize that information for good or evil. It's only a tool. It might not be easy for you to convert these primitive caveman-type proverbs, but they make perfect sense and are timelessly useful. If I just tell you the proverb, you might misinterpret the principle behind it. So let me apply it to a current-day scenario. You have a friend who you just met somewhere, school, job, neighborhood, etc. A friend who, for some reason, when you met for the first time, treated you nice, opened up to you, and you did the same, right? Now you're friends. According to The Art of War, everyone is at least one type of spy at any given time. So what type of spy are you and your friend toward each other? You're reverse spies, double agents. And this is why. When someone comes to you, it's because they have something to gain, whether they realize it or will admit it. If the two of you interact positively, even for a short period, you're now reverse spies. When you treat someone nice in return in order to keep them returning to you, this is the form of bribe, so that you can continue to get information from their world, job, etc. What most people would say as, I just want to be around him or her. Whether it's just to learn more about life, get connections, find a spouse, or some combination of these variables. I know some of you will say, but I just like my friend, and I had no motive. And I say, that's impossible. You have to know yourself, why you were attracted, what was your motivation. To have someone to relax with, enjoy pleasurable events with, because they seem fun and enjoyable to be around, because you want more friends, friends with connections, friends in your industry, friends with benefits, friends in the neighborhood, on the job, in life. You must learn to convert the proverbs to present day, but utilize their meaning fully from their original context, which is primitive. Because underneath it all, humans are still as primitive as caveman days. We just play it off better in the form of civilized rules and customs we abide by. But little has really changed. For example, let's say that for the sake of argument, that the two friends we spoke of earlier were both women in their 20s, who met in line at an ice cream parlor. We'll call one Mary and the other one Janice. Let's say that Mary is with her husband when they meet. With that criteria alone, what could be the motives of these women to be friends based on a little conversation at the ice cream parlor? What could make them want to stay in contact? You have to be able to think deep, be brutally honest. In some cases, people just want to have more friendly contacts and go with the flow with no strategy. That's probably noble, but according to The Art of War, it is also dangerous. You will be expected to give information that is supposed to be true. You will expect to get information in return for giving it, and you will expect for that information to be true. If someone were to use all the information you give against you, you would be furious, right? So why then would you not give any forethought or apply any strategy to the idea of letting someone inside your world, the most precious place on earth, without first trying to figure out, to the least bit at least, whether or not someone harbors duplicity in their hearts or might bring some, if not severe, damage to your world in the future. It is easier, after all, to avoid obligations than it is to come out of them well once you're friends. If they ask for information you don't want to give, you either have to deny it, which will look like treason, or lie, which makes them a dead spy because they'll transmit false information. Master Sun says, no one in the armed forces is treated as familiarly as spies, familiarly as spies. I can't even say it right. No one is given rewards as rich as those given to spies, and no matter is more secret than espionage. Doesn't that sound like a friend? One cannot use spies without sagacity and knowledge, Master Son says. One cannot use spies without humanity and justice. One cannot get the truth from spies without subtlety. This is a very delicate matter indeed. Spies are useful everywhere. Doesn't that sound like friends? It is essential for a leader to know about the 5 kinds of espionage, and this knowledge depends on reverse spies. So reverse spies must be treated well. Sounds like friends, family, co-workers, classmates, neighbors, strangers. Some report back, some go back and forth, some work inside companies or come from localities, but it all begins with a reverse spy. When any 2 people form an alliance, they are reverse spies. From there it begins, sending out false information being reported back, information coming from the inside, from the outside. It's the way information travels, the way it is used, that determines what type of spy you are at that time. To paraphrase Dumu's proverb to the present day, it will not do to act without knowing the conditions of your obstacle ahead of time. And knowing the conditions of your obstacle ahead of time is impossible without espionage. Today's theme was specific to the most important of the 5 types of espionage, the reverse spy.